Yeah, welcome to my presentation about Just Pixel. Yes, this is about graphics for the Commodore 64 and of course for the Mega 65. My name is Mark Teufel and I'm 47 years old and I'm living in Germany. In the scene I'm active with the nickname Şeytan, and this is the Turkish word for devil, and devil is in fact the English word for Teufel. I'm a graphican and a coder. So what is Just Pixel? It's just a tool to make pictures, logos and sprites, but doing it the old way. That means by setting pixel per pixel. The tool is heavily inspired by Zomatic, which was developed by the legendary demo group Panoramic Designs. And this is exactly where I want to start now. I want to start off with a little demonstration of the original Zomatic. Starting it this way makes it hopefully easier for you to understand my motivation. What you see here is Zomatic running inside the Wwise emulator. Zomatic is a paint program for the Commodore 64 concentrating only on the multi-color mode. Just Pixel, as you will see later, supports more formats than only multicolor. Zomatic was not meant to be a paint program only for artists. It was also made for programmers. If you press the F7 key, you see there are a lot of coding specific features like replacing and rearranging colors, converting everything into just 3 colors, which was very important in order to convert the bitmap into characters. And yes, it was possible to convert between bitmaps and jarsets. It was even possible to convert parts of the bitmap directly into sprites. I already prepared some pixels for you, as you can see here. One moment. You can use Zomatic to paint with mouse or joystick, but at least for me, the best feature is you can pixel perfectly with cursor keys and setting pixel by pressing just 1, 2 or 3. On the bottom of the screen here, you see the 3 gray colors I selected to be used when pressing 1, 2 or 3. Just to demonstrate, I will set some pixels now. And this was how I set my pixels in the good old day. So here I am in zoom mode. This is the graphic in a preview, and here I'm back in zoom mode. In the past I used Zomatic for mostly all graphics I did. In Reflex we did own versions of Zomatic back then, with which it was possible to pixel in other formats than multicolor. Hi-Res, FLI and even Hi-Res FLI were possible. All these were advanced graphics modes, very popular in the good old days. When I started with the Mega 65, the graphics environment was of particular interest to me. That's why I started the Just Pixel project, a modern tool to pixel like I am back in the 90s. Just Pixel supports different graphic modes. All modes, except for one, can be used on the Commodore 64 and the Mega. The most simplest mode is for sure Hi-Res. Hi-Res gives you the resolution of 320 by 200 pixel. The whole screen is made out of char blocks, each made of 8 by 8 pixels. One big limitation of this mode is that you can only use 2 colors for each of the 8 by 8 blocks. It is very impressive what works of art some artists have achieved with these limitations. Look at the slide. The next mode. The next and very popular mode on the Commodore 64 is multicolor or multicolor bitmap. This mode gives you the possibility to use more colors, but think we had only 64 kilobytes of RAM back then, you lose resolution. That means you get a resolution of 160 by 200 and each block consists now of 4 by 8 pixels only. But, and that is the good thing, you can have 3 colors per block now. Multicolor is for sure the most used format on the Commodore 64. In just pixel, this mode has the most features, as my game blocks, which I'm working on actually, is using multicolor bitmap graphics only. And last but not least, we come to a completely new mode, which is only available on the Mega 65. Full color mode, or FCM in short. Thanks to the WIC4 chip we get with the Mega, there is no longer the need to use advanced modes like FLI, Hi-Res FLI or NUFLI, which was invented by Crest and which is a very cool graphics format. With FCM you can make full screen graphics with a resolution of 320 by 200, and in each 8 by 8 pixel blocks you can use up to 16 colors. That's great. But wait, you can use 16 colors out of a color palette of 256 colors. And you have 4096 colors available in total. But that's not all, my friends. Full color mode is not a bitmap mode. It's a big character set. That means you are using FCM graphics as a charset and you get a lot of benefits out of it. Handling and working with character graphics makes life much easier for developers. Scrolling character in all directions is much easier than doing it with bitmaps. Think about parallax effects. Doing it with bitmaps is a pain in the ass. Doing it with character sets for sure is much easier. Okay, this is just Pixel in the browser. As you can see on the bottom, we are in the multicolor mode. If you want to change the mode, you can go to the toolbar, which is right here, and you can press this new button, and then you can switch between the 3 different graphics modes, which I described earlier. In order to set pixels, you first have to select the colors you want to use. And for this, you go to the bottom and you activate the slot where you want to put the color in. This slot here stands for the key 1, and this is key 2, and this is key 3. So I put my 3 gray colors into it. And then I can use the cursor keys to move the cursor, and I can press my keys here, 1, 2, 3, to set the pixels. If you look here, you see the preview of the graphic, and the preview I can zoom in or zoom out. If you want to delete pixels, you can press the delete key, and this will delete all the pixels in the block. If you want to paint circles or lines, you can select a color, for example this one, and then you go to the starting point of the line, you press the L key, and with the cursor you can define the line, and if you press L again, the line will be painted and the preview will be refreshed. You can do the same with circle or ellipse functionality. So you go to the starting point, you press a C, and by using the cursor keys left and right, you make a circle with the same radius, and if you use the cursor key up and down, you can make ellipse kind of things. And again, if you press C, the circle will be painted. Another cool thing in Just Pixel is that you can save and load graphics. So for this we have in the toolbar this save button and here the load button. This is the in fact it's the download button and this is an upload button. So if you save, you can enter a file name and then the file gets downloaded, and the file that you will get is in the Koala Painter format. So this is a very common format for Commodore 64 programmers. That means that's a binary format that can be used directly in your programs. But now I will load some pixels because I would like to show you some more cool features of Just Pixel. So here's the upload bitmap dialog. This is where I can upload Koala Painter formats, and this is for the future where you will get a converter to convert PNGs into bitmaps. Not yet available at the moment. So I load a pixels file, and where is my blocks logo? Let's load this one here. And here is it. You see, this is the blocks logo from my game Blocks. And what I want to show you now is the copy functionality of Just Pixel. So in order to copy parts of the bitmap, you can move the cursor to the starting point, and then you press the M key for mark. So this brings a little marking point here, a little marker here for the starting point, and then you go to the end position. Let's say we would like to copy this whole part until here. Now we have defined an area, and this area we can copy now. With the key Control V, I can copy it. And as you can see here, it's copied. But that's not all. I can also copy it mirrored. For this, I press Shift and V, and then I get a little dialog. And in the dialog, I can select between different options. How to mirror horizontally or mirror vertically. I would like to mirror vertically now. And now you see it's it's now mirrored. Perfect. I like it. I like this feature. Okay, and now it comes to the question, how can I use the graphics in my assembler programs? First option is to pixel some graphics and to download it as a Koala Painter picture and use the binary file in my assembler code. But there's another option which I implemented especially because I needed it. So here we see the graphics for my game Blocks. All graphics are in one big file, and I have decided to make an exporter. So that means I can define an area. For example, this block here, I would like to use it in my program. Then I can define an area with the M keys. So now here is the area. This is exactly the area I want to export. And then I press the E button, and that gives me the so-called byte dumper. And in the byte dumper, I can select in which format I would like to have these pixels to be exported. So I can select between Acme Assembler, between byte, and I can also export basic code. And what it gives you is all the data you need for the graphics. So there's one part for the bitmaps. These are the bitmaps here. And here we have the values for the color RAM, and these are the values for the screen RAM. And all the three areas make the bitmap graphic. And what you can do now is you can select this source code here, copy it, and then paste it directly into your assembler program. And this is what I will show you next. By the way, the same functionality I implemented for sprites. Here we have some bitmap graphics with only 3 colors for sprites. And if I would like to export, for example, this A here as a sprite, I do exactly the same. I mark the area, for example, this one, and then I don't press the E button for export, I press the S button for sprite dumping. And this gives me the sprite in Kick-Ass assembler format. Exactly the same. Easy idea, but very effective. And now let's go to the assembler. Okay, how did I use the graphics in my program? This is Visual Studio Code, and in Visual Studio Code my blocks project is opened. Here in the source folder there's a lot of assembler files, and interesting now there are two files, which is the sprites ASM and the graphics ASM. So let's look into the sprites. It's just bytes which I dumped into the file, directly exported from JustPixel, and I'm using it directly. It's really easy. And for the graphics I did some tables. So here's a table with high byte and low byte to the address of the starting point for each graphic. So for example, here is the gray 1, high and low byte. And then I have here the areas gray 1, gray 2, and also, again, the exported bytes from JustPixel. That's it. Easy and effective. Thank you very much. And sorry for my bad English.